about to go live on the live stream here. And since we're going to do that, let's sing together. Share these ancient vibrations in the chambers of our ancestors. I like to think how our skeletal systems are just coded from our ancestors, and when we hear ourselves sing and hear the hums from our voices, there's a bit of that same chamber from all our ancestors that we hear. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. You are the light, you are the light, you are the light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. Nice and loud. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. I am the light, I am the light, I am the light in this world. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. And I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. Really resonate. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. We are the light, we are the light, we are the light in this world. You are beautiful. Happy Sunday. That's a nice way to start.
Good morning. Hey, can you do a B flat?
A B flat.
Let's see. That's it?
Actually, no, that's false because I'm a house. That's a B flat.
B flat? Okay. Are we B flat? So apparently, B flat is the sound of the cosmos because it's the sound of Om.
A B flat?
B flat? Yeah.
I thought it was A. Is it what do you know what frequency it is?
I don't have a clue.
A is the sound of the dial tone.
Anyway, well, we'll get to that later. Anyway, good morning, everybody. I didn't mean to distract you all. I'm on my own private galaxy brain here. It's good to have you all here. Thank you. I want to say especially good morning to Bob and Admiral Bob and Marilyn, who I know are watching. Good to see you guys. Yeah. And our friends up in Oregon, good hello to you too. And anywhere else, anybody that's in the virtual world, good morning, good to see you. And for you guys, it's good to have you guys here today too. Here we are in Advent, which is one of my favorite seasons. I think I like Advent more than I like Christmas. Because Advent has that sense of anticipation. It's a state of being. It's a waiting. It's a preparing. It's a whatever the case may be. And sometimes I think Christmas is there's just so much energy on Christmas itself. But it's just I think just lovely to be in the experience of Advent. And I'll talk more about that. But I did not send a text to you guys this morning because I was trying to work things out. But this is an easy one. So I was thinking, as you probably often do, of Irenaeus of Lyon, right? He was a first century mystic, and he was a bishop of Lyon. But he makes a statement, I'm going to cover it a little bit later in my talk today too, where he says this. He says, God is in its full glory when a human being is fully expressed. So yeah, here's Mr. Orthodoxy, right? 2nd century, God is in its glory when a human is fully expressed. So what I'd love to do is just kind of call that out to you guys. When are you fully expressed? In other words, when is God in its full glory through you?
Wow, that's a good question. Just as a reflection on that thought as well, it reminded me of a concept within Christianity where, and I think you've mentioned this before, that Jesus didn't refer to himself as the Messiah, but he referred to himself as the Son of Man. And it's a very strange term. And when you look back to where it came from the Old Testament, there's this amazing passage in Ezekiel where he is looking up to the throne of God, and you're not normally supposed to look at God, but he's gradually moving his eyes up, is describing the throne and the throne room, and when he gets to God, it says, one like the Son of Man turned and looked at me. And what Jesus is bringing then from that title is that he is exemplifying what it means to be truly human. And I always thought that was really interesting, that God ends up being human looking back. Yeah, so that doesn't really answer your question, but it's a reflection on the question.
So, for those of you that don't know, Chip is an ordained minister, and when you put a microphone in his hand, help himself. I know the feeling well.
That's a great concept.
Yeah.
Totally, I love that, and I totally agree. And I have to speak on behalf of the artists because my journey as an artist and all the artists I know and love, both personally and admire from afar, I think what I've come to understand about artistry is that it's simply a journey towards fearlessness. And the goal of the artist is to find your expression and get all the fears that you have about letting that expression come out, get those fears out of the way. And that journey, I think, is not only just for artists, and I think every human being has artistry within them because every kind of problem-solving thing that you do is a creative act. So that's the artistry in all of us. So finding that expression of what some would call God is basically the height of fearlessness, letting that expression come through without fear, and I love artistry for that.
I've been thinking about being human, like humanism, and I think God, is expressed when we're fully human, because being human is something that I see like the world is trying to take us out of, and you can kind of see it as the guy who says he's awakened and then he goes out into a cave, but the human is to be human with each and every one of us. When the experience is becoming fully embodied in our bodies, and an example of that is especially right now in the holiday season where it's cooler, and we get to kind of maybe read a book and then feel like the cup and the warmth of the cup in our hands, and we get to kind of be more embodied, and to be human is where we find that sense of freedom and that sense of God awareness in our lives more, where we can be more patient with each other and in that place of joy and comfort.
So I'm going to model how one answers this question. So I feel most fully expressed when I'm in the kitchen, particularly when I'm making soup. I've got this thing right now for soup because I get into this bone broth thing, and I'll stew the bones of a pastured bird or a cow for like 3 or 4 days. So it's just this incredibly powerful, nurturing base for a soup. And so when I'm in the kitchen, I just feel all the elements of the garden and of the bounty of the earth and this opportunity to bring creation into it. And so I know that God is in his glory, her glory, that glory, when I am whipping up a cream of broccoli soup. Okay, so instead of going galaxy brain, anybody else, when is God in its glory when you are most fully expressed?
God is in his glory when I'm loving. When I'm loving painting a beautiful picture, when I'm loving writing emotionally, when I'm loving my family, my friends, when I'm loving anything, God is in his glory.
So Gary has that hand up down there.
I think you're in your glory the more that you let go of yourself and the more you become involved with community and being available to help others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Liz had her hand up. And then, yeah. And then Larry.
I think this is a great probe. There's so many ways in which I feel fulfilled or in my optimum self, I'll call it, realizing the essence of God, which to me is an energy. Being in nature, being with animals, really opens my senses and my beingness, especially like a place like Africa where they're free and we're in a cage being in a rover. I'm in a constant meditation because I see the beauty of the rawness of the land, and then I see them, and looking even in my dog's eyes, that's when I feel the most fulfilled.
Larry.
I feel that expression of God when I'm out in the fields, like in Los Hilgueros, walking and enjoying nature and the water there, the ponds, and seeing the animals scurry around. This is something I could have been doing 10,000 years ago, and it's primitive. It goes all the way back, connects me to the past and the future.
Beautiful. Anyone else? Yes, Susie.
I feel the glory of God around children, little children. And I've been around a few recently, and it's just wonderful. It is glorious. It just, and they hug you, and it just makes you feel so good, and I can't imagine what could be better than that.
Fabulous. Thank
Look
you.
at Paul go.
All right. Joe.
So there's many things that happen when I feel I'm in the presence of God, but it's always when I'm able to live in the presence of the now.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I feel
Yeah.
God fully.
Yeah. Right behind you too, Paul. Betty there.
I feel the closest and the very, very best when I'm by our great Pacific Ocean.
Yes.
I love to watch the surf. I love to watch the birds. It just brings so much tranquility to me.
Indeed. Okay, Magdalena.
I'm going to say one that might seem a little weird, but when I'm bawling my eyes out and crying in sorrow and grief, that's when I feel most connected.
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. Anyone else? Anyone else? Oh, we got one more there, Matt.
Yeah, I feel connected to God. We're fundamentally social creatures, so anytime we can cooperate and collaborate and I can be part of a group and we can accomplish things together.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Fabulous. Well, I'm going to revisit this question during my talk. I think it's in my notes. So we'll see what that is. I forgot the announcements again, so maybe I'll just do them right now. And then I don't have to think about them anymore. So I know that there's some slides, so there's a couple announcements. And the first one is after service today, we're doing some decorating. So if you'd like to hang out for a little bit and help us decorate the sanctuary for and Star Hall for Christmas, we have the decorations. So please stay and hang out and see Liz and Andrea. They're sort of heading it up, and we're going to have a decorating party. So that's happening. And then also Mantras with Magdalena. I love that. That's a great title, Mantras with Magdalena. So Magdalena is going to be doing some mantra chanting before service on the 22nd. But there's a rhythm, isn't there? Like it's like the first and the fourth, or the third and the fifth, or the first and the... Okay, it's to be announced. But for sure, on the winter solstice on the 22nd at 10 o'clock, in the Emerson room, and Magdalena will be there, and we'll do a little chanting before service if you'd like to do that. So that's going on. She's also doing a Kundalini workshop, a Kundalini yoga class, and that is, back we go, Kundalini yoga class, and it's, it's Tuesday morning at 6 a.m. This Tuesday at 6 a.m. Kundalini yoga. Here at the center. Here. Yep. Yeah. Cool. So that's happening, and new posters, more information to go. And then there was another announcement I just saw.
It's the Mind Body Show.
Oh yeah, Jim's class, Tao and Wellbeing.
Yes. And we don't have a flyer yet.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about Christmas Eve, too. So, okay, so that's Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 in the Emerson room as well. And then also do mark your calendars. I am so excited. We are doing Christmas Eve service, and we're going to have Ronna Bell doing music, so it'll be good. So we'll be doing lots of caroling. So it'll be a very traditional Christmas for the very non-traditional, and more to come on that. And then, of course, do take a moment to visit the Open Mind Gift Store. That'll be at 6:30. Yep. We'll start caroling probably a little bit earlier than that. Okay, I think that's all the announcements.
Next week, I just want to mention that Sonny's going to be here.
Oh, right.
So, right? Sonny's next week. That was in the calendar. So I always love playing percussion with him and the music, and obviously Angela, Reverend Angela.
That's right. Reverend Angela will be here with Sonny, her husband.
So that's always fun.
That's happening too. And then prayer ministry, there are different ways we are about prayer. So there's different ways to receive prayer after service. You can see one of the practitioners, Ron, Liz, or Andrea. Is there any other practitioners in the room here? I don't see one yet. And just ask them if they'd pray with you, and they'd be happy to. You can fill out a prayer request card in the back there in the narthex, and the practitioners pray them during the week, and we'll return a call if you'd like us to. You can also join Paul about 10 minutes after service in the Emerson room. He'll be holding a prayer circle, or you can ask any one of us to make an appointment for spiritual counseling as well. So all those things are there for you for prayer. With that, I will now let Paul, our practitioner for the day, lead us into service.
So yes, just please give me permission. No. No kidding. Welcome everyone. My name is Paul. It's a pleasure and an honor to be up here as your practitioner and praying together with you. And what a beautiful time of year this is. It just reminds me of the spirit of Advent and the waiting and the waiting and the waiting, and it seems like in Fallbrook there's like the tradition, like whenever the Christmas parade happens, that's like when it starts, right? So we just had a Christmas parade. I don't know if you were there, but I wasn't. Yes, you were? Okay. Yes. All the people, and you see Santa come in, and it's like Merry Christmas. So it's like always when that happens, then I'm allowed to celebrate Christmas. And so let's celebrate. Let's bring that, usher that in, especially with such a beautiful theme that we have before us this month of comfort and joy. And we would get to let's see if we can embody this experience of just waiting for that time where we just go inward and we are reflective, especially now as it's getting darker earlier and earlier in the day, and we maybe light a candle or find that inspirational book. And so let us simply usher in this time. And with the prayer, we can go inward. And so if you'd like to pray with me and close your eyes, please be free to do so. We are here in this moment, just really allowing ourselves to take this moment in, and we orient to this presence, this beautiful, alive moment that we have here in our community, where we acknowledge our humanness and that subtle sensation that we have as we breathe. And we go inward, and we utilize this wonderful thing called neuroception, where we go inside and we feel. We feel and we allow this breath to move. We subtly feel that the movement of our breath, of our breathing, without trying to find meaning in the sensations, but we just simply feel what is there, and we allow it to guide. Taking in all that is happening in our experience this holiday season, all the different parts, and we know in truth that there are no bad parts in what we experience, and that we can all gather in this moment into that expression of the divine presence, where we find that deep sense of peace and comfort. Comfort here in the now as we celebrate each other. We celebrate the word and the inspiration and the truth and that divine flow that is ever flowing. And so with that, I simply let go and let God, and so it is. And so the reading for this week, you may have already heard it. It just jumped out at me, and I was like, yeah, this is it right here. It's by Oliver Wendell Holmes, and it goes, "What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us." Now let us sit with that in our meditation. And so it is. And with love and light, and so it is.
So it is.
So I'm going to play the song I wrote in, I think it was about 2008. I was living down in Barrio Logan, and I'd go for runs in the morning, and I'd run past the homeless people and just feeling kind of sad about that state and situation, as well as anything else that was going on in the world at the time. And I tried to write this song that made me feel hopeful. And there's a moral to it, that I wrote this song, I recorded it, I put it out, and just taking that kind of pain and worry and concern and turning it into something transcendent, and attempting to do that, it got picked up by SiriusXM. SiriusXM played it for 3 times every day for the whole year, the next year, and it ended up paying my bills for the next year after that. And so the moral to that is like, yeah, when the world's trying to get you down, if you can just take it, shift it a little bit, regurgitate it in some way, that karma, there's something to it. So it's not exact science, but I can vouch for it working. If I were the sea, I would love to see you smile at me. Walk the shore a mile with me. If I were the trees, I would love to shade you with my leaves. I'd clean the air for you to breathe. If I were you, oh, I would love, I would love, I would love. If I were a song, I would love to be a symphony, all together in harmony. If I were the earth, I would love to give you all that you need, but you keep taking more from me. If I were you, oh, I would love, 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 I would love. But should it be so bad to want to do something good when this world tries to bring me down? I would love, 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 I would love. If I were a book, I would love to educate the youth. Open minds just by telling the truth. If I were a pen, I would love to write to you, friend. I'd be so proud of the love we send you. If I were you, I would love, 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 I would love. Should it be so bad to want to do something good when this life tries to get us down? I would love, 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 I would love. If I were money, I would love to end poverty. Instead they keep on wasting me. If I were a gun, I would love to never kill anyone, or melt me down and make me something fun. If I were you, oh, I would love, 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 I would love. Sing with me. I would love, 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 I would love. Yes, we will. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jimmy Jones. And please welcome our Reverend Dr. Guy Williams.
So I've been kind of in a singing thing The last couple days, there's a Pandora station that I plug into this time of year. It's called a Hipster's Christmas List. And so it's like really interesting songs, Christmas songs. Anyway, I'm just singing a lot. Like I said, I love the whole experience of what Advent is. And, you know, we are not even close to being mainline Christian at all. But there's something about festivals and seasons and the times of the year and all those things that kind of work in there. I was telling Jim earlier that I think that spiritual diversity is as important as biodiversity to make us healthy. And so there's, instead of thinking about one way of looking at it, it's how we incorporate other things. We're stronger, we're more mentally and spiritually agile if we open up different venues into our lives. So I offer that to you in the sense of an open mind, because I know that for many people, there's a lot of baggage that people carry about a religion that is based on a dog. I mean, based on a God. I was going to say based on a God. I was going to say that I wouldn't even let watch my dogs. You know, that is judgmental and punishing and all these other kinds of stuff. And what I was talking about earlier is this idea about how we re-engage different ideas, thoughts, even spiritual practices. I was thinking this week, there's a story that comes from the tales of the Hasidim. And the Hasids are a form of Jewish mystics. They're Orthodox generally, and it's a mystical sect of Judaism. But there's a story of a Rebbe in a village in East Europe, and what traditionally happens at the end of Sabbath is there are prayers that are said and songs that are sung, and it officially closes Sabbath. And Sabbath is a very powerful time. It's at, you know, Sabbath is, as Abraham Heschel says, you know, we were not created for the Sabbath. The Sabbath was created for us. It is a way for us to unplug from all the distractions, to allow ourselves to be in that experience like the divine itself in that tradition that enjoys itself and enjoys what it has created. But anyway, on this particular Sabbath, this Rebbe was just sort of like, man, I just don't want to go back to the grind. I don't want this Sabbath to end. And I'm not going to say the closing prayers. So there you have it. And his group of students were like, they're looking around. It's like, well, what are we going to do? He's not going to close. What are we going to do? And so he goes, who has a song? And again, they're looking at each other because all they know are these little hymns. And he's like, a song. Who has a song? So finally, one student, quite embarrassed, abashed, and red faces, well, he says, I do know a song, but it's totally inappropriate for where we are right now. It's a song that I learned in the Army. And it's pretty bawdy. It has to do with, you know, men and women and body parts and all that other kind of stuff. So he goes, sing it. And the guy sings it. And then he goes, sing it again. And everybody sing with him. And they begin to sing the song, and it's really a bad song. And they all start singing the song, but what happens, they just get caught up in the experience of the song. And as it says, as they began to sing the song more and more, the enthusiasm of the song begins to take hold over them. And the next thing you know, there's like flames of fire over their heads. And the doors of heaven open, and they go singing and dancing into the kingdom of heaven. I just love this story because I think it tells something that is innate within us. Something that Lee knows also well is the words don't matter as much as the enthusiasm of the experience does. How many times have you listen to a song on your playlist or whatever the case may be, a song that comes up, particularly at Christmas time, and you just love the song, you start singing along with the song, and you don't even know the words, right? You know, it's like, first us is on harpies on da 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 gee. You know, so it's like we just kind of get into it. You know, there was a song when I was in high school, Crystal Blue Persuasion. I have no idea what the words of that song are, but I sang it all the time. You know, the sun is arising. I don't even know what it was, but I think that because particularly now, this time of year, what do we feel? What do we experience? And I was thinking that because I've been singing all week, and one of the songs that I've been singing, I wrote to Lee and the practitioners on this, is the song "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." You know the song "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen." I don't even know if I know the right words for it, because there's some, you know how you interdisperse words for Christmas songs, and it's a really jaunty tune, right? God rest ye merry gentlemen. And it's just really, really upbeat song. And then, but if you actually were to do a deep dive into the words, it's absolutely horrible, horrible theology. It's misogynist. It deals with atonement and sin and, you know, devils and going astray and all this kind of stuff. It has absolutely nothing to do with the Christmas story at all, except that it's a catchy little tune. But there is one verse in it that I just love, which is good tidings of comfort and joy. Comfort and joy. So that's a powerful thing, because comfort the song isn't about making you comfortable. It's not like, you know, have a seat on my couch, comfortable. Comfort. So, you know, when the word comfort, the Old English word for comfort, really means to give strength, to give encouragement, to give hope. So that's what it is. So comfort is that sense of strengthening or giving sustenance for the journey, you know, to comfort somebody on their way, to give them strength, to give them hope. And joy, you know, joy is a state of being that has nothing to do with happiness. Examples, you know, so happy. So, you know, Anne made lemon bars today. I'm happy, you know. And but joy has nothing to do with anything external. It doesn't have to be a thing or an event or anything. Joy is just, and by the way, the cool thing about being a human is we can have different things going on at the same time. We can feel joy at the same time we may grieve, the same time that we may even be angry, the same time we may be confused, but even in all those other kinds of feelings, we can allow joy to be present to who we are and where things are on that. So that state of being of comfort and joy is something that I want to play with during this Advent season and see where it goes. So last week, Annie and I went to go see a movie on Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer happens to be one of my spiritual heroes. And Angel Films just put out a new film on the life of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, and it's really a good film. I was really pleased with it, and you know, just kind of spoke to this man who, you know, one of his whole things, you know, Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a German theologian. He was an ordained minister in the Lutheran Church. He had all those bona fides of this, that, and the other thing. But the thing with also is he was also in Germany during the rise of the fascist regime, and he was able to call on it. But one of the things that he addressed very strongly was when the Lutheran or the Christian church aligned itself with the state government. And so he was a real advocate of what he called religiousless Christianity, of what would it be like to follow the teachings of this remarkable prophet without the trappings of the institution itself. Because his theory is, or his thesis is this, is that institutions by their very nature become corrupt because they're simply attracted to power. And that's that tension that always exists. You know, the tension between power and compassion, or power and love. However you want to, power and service, power in, and whatever the case may be, that passion or that experience, that balance that kind of goes between the two sides that we kind of do. It's kind of like this. It's like we invented language and then forgot we did. And I know that I've had conversations with Matt about this. You know, what happens is that the invention of language created the space for us to think symbolically. And this is what accelerates our evolution in consciousness. But the thing of it is we seem to have, or this is my interpretation, but we seem to have used our language and our symbolic thinking to interpret reality where the powerful always come out on top. Right? Where the strong win. We even try to pretend like we know what Darwin was talking about when he talks about survival of the fittest. He had nothing to do with the strongest and most powerful. To him, the fittest was the most agile. It was actually was the one that cooperated. But this idea of power is kind of the thing that is addressed in the whole Advent story, I think, and what it comes through, and the prophets that are engaged in it. And again, I think that there's a lot of baggage about this story. You know, we have these ideas of these, that these people here in Palestine at the time that Jesus was born during the Roman occupation, and there's so much. There's an excellent book, by the way, called The First Christmas. James Crossan and Dominic Crossan and James Marcus Borg. And it's called The First Christmas. It's an excellent book. Introduction onto the experience, the scene, the events that are happening. But part of it is what we have done, what Bonhoeffer addresses, is how we have turned this story on its ear. To what the story has nothing to do with the story itself. The first thing is we're introduced in the Gospels, the ones that are writing this, and here's another thing. We don't really know who wrote these stories, the Gospels. We have no idea who they were. But they're talking about events that they knew that changed their life. But in the Gospel of Luke, the first prophet that we see is a 14-year-old Palestinian girl. Maybe she's 15. Her name is Mary, and she will eventually become the mother of Jesus, the Theotokos, as they call it. But here's the thing is, when you think about Mary, we think of this pristine virgin, all this other kind of stuff, sort of removed insulated from the things, and she's nothing more than a subservient vessel of God. That's not who she is at all. In fact, when she sees her cousin, she gives this speech called the Magnificat, of which I'll just read a few words for it. She says this, and she's speaking of the divine. And she says, "He shows mercy to everyone from one generation to the next who honors him as God. He has shown strength with his arm. He has scattered those with arrogant thoughts and proud inclinations. He has pulled down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lowly. He has filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty-handed." Here is this young teenage girl in Gaza, Bethlehem, who is holding her fists to the occupying forces that have been decimating the communities and have basically been keeping those occupied people under their boot. And she is saying that the divine that I know is the one who's going to change this whole system and turn it on its ear, where the rich and the powerful will be brought down and the lowly will be lifted up. The hungry will be fed. and those who have preyed on them will go away empty. So she's creating this whole new imagination of what is possible in these events that are getting ready to start happening. She is bringing comfort and joy. And she's doing it, like I said, in all religious traditions, and it's not just Judaism or Christianity or Islam or Buddhism or Hinduism, or, you kind of name the religion itself, there's always a tension. There's a tension between the temple and the wilderness, the orthodoxy and the artists. There's one, the infrastructure, which is important, and the prophets, whose job it is to always address the temple and call it. Because what is a prophet? I love John Philip Newell's definition of a prophet. He says, a prophet is one who denounces what is false and announces what is true. And in Simon Garfunkel's songs, the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls, right? Those who are denouncing what is false and announcing what is true. That is the essence, that is the spirit of the prophets. And that is the energy that is calling this in to denounce the power and to introduce this idea of compassion. And in John's gospel, it says, in the beginning was Logos. That energy, that intelligence, that word that calls all things into being. But what's really interesting is the early French Celts, instead of using the word Logos, used the word sound. In the beginning was the sound. And from the sound, all creation happens, from that one sound. And and this is a very ecumenical kind of thing. That's why I was asking you to B flat, because the B flat is the sound of Om. In the beginning was Om. And all things proceed from that sound, that vibration. Because what I'm wanting to offer as an imagination is this, excuse me please, at the end of the day, what we know in the 21st century, what we know after Einstein, as we try to make sense of these archaic spiritual stories that if we try to take them literally, we're going to end up in the weeds, but if we can open ourselves to what are they, not so much how did this happen, but what does it mean, other things become possible. This idea of that we are all energetic patterns, and that we live in a universe that is essentially energetic patterns, and that these patterns interact with themselves one way or the other, and that there's a force in all of this, and the force is known to be, or what we would call, God. So Henry David Thoreau makes the same suggestion. He suggests that we should think of our bodies as instruments through which the world or all creation sings. That our body it's an energetic pattern to be sure, but maybe what this energetic power is to do is to resonate in such a way, and to create this idea of song. Norman Wisba, in his book, The Braided Dance of Love, says this. He says, the idea of our body as a musical instrument suggests that the best life is the one that attunes itself to the places and to the diverse creatures we are all with. And then he goes on to say this. He says, the best life is a resonant life, like a tuning fork, that responds to the vibration of another tuning fork and vibrates the pulsing of the lives of others. In other words, if we begin to think of ourselves as an instrument by which we are resonating with the very tune of the force of the creation itself, and then we think about, Mr. Orthodoxy when he says that God is most fully expressed when a human being is living fully. How then are we doing that? If we are created in the image and the likeness of this thing, and by the way, maybe I should start with this idea of what am I talking about when I'm talking about God? Because of course your mind is immediately going to theopoetics here. What do we talk about when we talk about God? Well, in this particular story, John spells it out. God is love. And I don't think what he's saying is God does loving things. What he's saying is God is the name of the presence of love. God is love. God doesn't love. Well, God loves. But the essence, when we think of God, what we're thinking of is a name for the presence of this force of creation that we call love. And so we are most fully expressed when we are loving. And that divine presence is in its full glory when you and I perform or engage in acts of love. That's kind of what we're talking about here. It's a pretty simple, pretty straightforward formula. Robin Wall Kilmer says it this way. She says, I wonder if that which ails our society stems from the fact that we have allowed ourselves to be cut off from the love of and from the land. It's medicine for let me try that again because I just read that completely wrong. I wonder if much that ails our society stems from the fact that we have allowed ourselves to be cut off from the love of and from the land. It is medicine for broken land and empty hearts. In other words, it's not just to love, but to be loved. It's not just to love the earth, but to allow ourselves to have the earth love us back. And some of you said that, when you're feeling most fully expressed, you're in nature, you're by the ocean, you're by the this, you're with animals. It's allowing ourselves to be loved by that which we love, which is in other words of saying we are in resonance, in tune with, in the same song of creation of all things when we are in this loving thing. And again, she goes on to say this. She says, our bodies thrive only because they move within and are nurtured by a world that is profoundly alive. The remedy for a broken, lonely, and commodified world is fairly straightforward. Nurture the places and creatures that nurture you. If you want to heal the earth, nurture those things that are near you and allow them to nurture you, to come into this resonance. And oh, by the way, this is the message that this young Palestinian girl in the first century occupied Palestine under the Romans was saying. Is what if we looked at things differently that weren't about power, but about compassion? They weren't about the achievement of the one, but the good of the many. It wasn't about how we are separate from, but are integral in all of creation. And in the ongoing evolution of creation that is taking place even as we speak, we're being invited to be part of that. You're probably thinking right now, as I'm sure you are, of Athanasius, the 3rd century mystic and poet, who said this, right? Right? Who's going to quote him for me? Yeah, y'all know it. So I probably even shouldn't say it, but for the person who may not know. So Athanasius says this. He says, God became divine so that the divine became human so that humans could become divine. 3rd century orthodoxy. Athanasius, the divine became human so humans could become divine. And it has nothing to do with atonement or lost or sin or damnation or salvation or any of those things. They're just not there. The whole atonement thing comes 1,000 years after Jesus, has come and gone. There's something else afoot in this story. Advent means to prepare the way. It's to prepare the way for a new vision of what is possible, and what is possible when we choose love over power, when we choose forgiveness over retribution, when we choose honoring over denigrating, when we choose cooperation. So, each of us is invited to do this as we're preparing for this. So I want to offer as a spiritual practice during Advent something that Thomas Berry says. Thomas Berry was he died in whenever he died, relatively contemporary. I'm trying to think, he was born in 1904. He died in the 60s, maybe? Maybe he died later than that. He had to die later than that because I read his book. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Thomas Berry, he was a priest, he was a theologian, he was a writer, but he suggests that we contemplate the 3 sacred texts. And he kind of does a riff on Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas, as you probably already know, talks about there's 2 sacred texts. There's the cosmos, and there's the written scriptures. So Thomas Berry says there's 3 sacred texts that we should all be contemplating every day. And the first text is the cosmic text. And the cosmic text is this: go outside at night and look up. Or go to the beach and look out. Whatever you do to in touch yourself with the vastness of the cosmos itself, where do you have the experience of connecting to the great cosmic song? That is the first text. It's the one that brings you to amazement, wonder, and awe. It's the one that denounces what is false and announces what is true. And the second text is whatever sacred text inspires you. Again, I want to speak to spiritual diversity as an important thing. So, if you got something with the Bible, the Christian Bible, the Hebrew Bible, if all this baggage on it, all this kind of stuff with it, all this crazy, don't read it. Man, if there's a movie you don't like, don't go. If there's a food you don't like, don't eat it. If you got an issue with this book, don't read it. Personally, I think it's fascinating. And I would love to have a conversation with anybody about it, and not because you have to do it, but because there's these incredible stories in it about human nature that are fascinating. By the way, you can find in the Bhagavad Gita. You can find in the Dhammapada. You can find in Lord of the Rings. That came up. Imagine that, Or Kim Stanley Robbins, whatever you read that inspires you, read that. And then the third sacred text is the interior one. What is your soul telling you? What is the inner voice? So, how does the universe speak to you? Are there other wise peoples whose writings you can appreciate and support you? And can we just be quiet enough to listen to that deep inner voice that will denounce what is false and announce what is true? And as we are preparing for this, you know, it's kind of like riding a Harley Davidson. We're preparing for this not because we're trying to get somewhere, but because we're wanting to enjoy the ride. And Harley Davidson, you know, the motto is, it's not the destination, it's the journey. And that's why I like Advent more than I like Christmas, because it's about the journey. It's about the adventure. It's about reflecting on, where have I given away, you know, where have I given away my personal power for whatever? How do I call that back? Or where do I feel powerless? How do I begin breathing that back in? Can I create a new vision of a world that is possible without the infrastructure that we believe? Do you know, I read this about 3 weeks ago really, I read this, that for most people, it is easier for them to imagine the end of the world than it is for them to imagine the end of capitalism. I just offer that as a thought. Not because I'm advocating one thing or another, and I'm not, you know, getting ready to, you know, to tout my socialist bona fides at all, but I just want you to consider this. Whether it works for you or it doesn't work for you is not the point. The point is, it's hard for us to imagine a world without it. Think about it for yourself. What if we just change this whole system? And I'm not even suggesting we do. I'm just saying it's easier for us to imagine the world ending than it is for us to imagine institutions that we've simply been conditioned to accept as they are to be, without even questioning, would it be possible without them? And if you're resonating with that, what other assumptions are you holding on to that may not necessarily be serving you? And if you will listen to the cosmos and be in a place of amazement and awe, be inspired by the wisdom of others, and listen to your inner voice, maybe, just maybe, you will be offered a path to prepare you to live in a world of newer possibilities than the probabilities we've simply accepted. There's that, what's that beautiful Emily Dickinson poem? I live in possibilities. It's more powerful than prose. There's more available windows and more places for doors. What falsehood holds you back from living in the anticipation of possibilities? And how can I and this community and this time of year bring tidings of comfort and joy? God rest ye merry gentlemen and gentlewomen. And so it is.
Thanks, Rev. Lovely weaving, wordsmithing, artistry. I've got a song that encapsulates, it's a cosmic song. It's got energy patterns, and I think it goes with today. So, and it's on my new EP that I'm releasing this week. The idea is it's about free will and navigating, trying to nudge free will in the universe and all the possibilities in your favor. Called Sweet Uncertainty. Oh, it's been a day, it's kind of been that way, so I came to play Sweet Uncertainty. Time I'll leave behind on my troubled mind. Who knows what I'll find? Sweet uncertainty. Then you're next to me, I hear that melody, oh, that energy. Sweet uncertainty. Let the rhythm take you, oh, I wanna make you when you're next to me. Sweet uncertainty. Teach me, yeah. Picture perfect perfect bliss. Wish I could dream like this. An endless summer's kiss, sweet uncertainty. All the time you burn for the pain unearned, all the lessons learned, sweet uncertainty. Then you're next to me, I hear that melody, oh that energy, sweet uncertainty. Let the rhythm take you, oh I wanna make you when you're next to me, sweet uncertainty. All there'll ever be only was because sweet uncertainty. Every life on earth, every galaxy, all this universe, sweet uncertainty. Then you're next to me, I hear that melody, oh that energy, sweet uncertainty. Let the rhythm take you, oh I wanna make you when you're next to me, sweet uncertainty. Oh, it's been a day, it's kind of been that way, so I came to play sweet uncertainty. Time to leave behind all my troubled mind, who knows what I'll find. Hey, thank you everybody. Who knows, who knows?
So, this experience of being here is truly magical. And what I think is so cool right now is because we are coming from this kind of very generational place. And this, I know a lot of you guys were like hippies. Were you guys hippies at one point? Okay, that's what I thought. And so, it's really cool because, the science is catching up to what, Dr. Guy is speaking of, about these monks and stuff and monasteries talking about God and the body. And that's what I think is so fascinating, is that the science is catching up, and they're finding that our brains, when we're singing and when we're relational and when we're gathering and when we're exploring and listening to music and finding these insights and these beautiful moments, that it's actually good for your health. Right? So who would have ever thought? And so this just being here and being relational with each other and sharing these ideas and exploring how our minds have come so far through evolution, and our minds are right now, we're all interacting through our prefrontal cortex, and just, I don't want to get too nerdy, but there's this kind of beautiful thing happening just by being here. And part of that is sharing. Right? So this is that time of conscious giving, and where we get to simply just share our gifts and that what we work hard for, and to know that by sharing we are continuing this evolutionary process, right? I know Reverend Dr. Guy didn't mention yet Pierre Teilhard Chardin, so I'll do it for you. And he was like kind of a forerunner in this too. And this evolutionary process of how our bodies, and we're just here and we love and we're with each other. And so if you are here and ready to express that love, however you do so, but as for now with your monetary coin, and just to keep this alive and keep this going for generations to come, please pray with me that these gifts go forth into that ever so expansion of the good by which we get to celebrate here every single Sunday. This camaraderie, this music, the singing, the insights, the love, and each other, and that beautiful thing called imagination. I know that these gifts go forth for that, and they simply expand and grow in each and every way. And so with that, I give thanks. And so it is.
was singing to you. Yeah, you. Thank you. The people coming through, people like you. People coming through, people like you.
Were you playing a Stones song before service?
Well, I'm going to finish. That's my close.
Oh, you're going to close with that one? Okay, cool.
Transcendent, that one.
There we go. Very good. Fabulous.
Totally.
I just love when the Rolling Stones are played at church.
It's the most metaphysical song. That's how I'm going to introduce it.
Cool. Very good. So anyway, so thank you all for being here again, and I want to thank people, especially those who are in service. I know that Larry and Karen were there greeting people walking in. They're the first sets, and Chris was with them, so you were the first smiling faces that people saw walking in the door, so thank you for that. Do give Anne some love today. She's out in the kitchen with Julieta, and they're making just some wonderful food, and I know that Mike hauls it in for her and takes care of it, and he's her great sous chef there, so we'll love it up on Mike. And Mike and Steve back there on the sound booth, thank you guys so much for that, making it sound good and whatever. Sherry and Noreen, man, our ladies in the gift shop with all the good stuff that is there and all the cool stuff that is there. Do stop by and visit that. And, of course, our fabulous music team here, Steve, Jim and Lee. Yes, I went to the Christmas parade last night, and that's not a good thing for me to do on a Saturday night. So anyway, and Paul, it's always a pleasure to be on the platform with you there. And like I said, you've got prayer. Chris is not here. I was going to ask Chris to do the benediction because he just, I don't know, Chris Farini, whenever you talk to this guy, he's just a wealth of information, and he has this beautiful Native American prayer. But he's not here today, so he won't pray it. But I'll pray us out. So with that, and so by the way, if this is your first time, please say hello. I'd love to get a chance to meet you. So with that, we just, again, let ourselves be in this moment. We think of the cosmos, creation itself. May it just bring us to that place of amazement and wonder and awe. We think of those wise people who have taken the time to create stories, legends, possibilities, roadmaps for awakening to our full humanity. And we're just deeply aware that the innermost God and the outermost God is the same God. That name for that presence of love that is surrounding us is the reality of who we are. And so may this day be filled with amazement and wonder. May each of us be surprised and reminded that that divine presence became human so that we would become aware of our divine magnificence. And so we let it be, and so it is.
So it is. All right, so, Mike Popovich, he's got a statement, question.
Yeah. Well, you're going to.
Kurt and Deanna are here today, so we do have food. And spent all day yesterday preparing some split pea ham soup. And there's also bread that's brought, so we've done it. We'll be able to eat. But there's also something that is out there that there's a table full of little creatures, creations. And each one is a unique individual creation. There's dolls that Anne has created, in fact, and given away hundreds of them. In fact, a couple of years ago, Chris, Assad, Barbara, Jello, and myself, and Anne, I dressed up as Santa Claus. And we went to Regency, and gave probably 100 of her little creations to the seniors at the Regency. And over the years, she's given probably several hundred to Toys for Tots. So anyway, she has them for sale out there, and if you like a personal gift or a gift for a family member or just something personal for yourself, take a look at it.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Anne. So beautiful. All right, so I heard this. I was reminded of this song the other day, and I listened to the lyrics, and I thought this is so metaphysical. I looked it up online and see what it was all about, and yet they were reading like psychedelic books at the time and metaphysical books at the time, and I thought there's no one more fearless than Mick Jagger. So we'll play this one. It's about how we all start out in chaos and we find our way to where we're all right now. It's like alive. This song's got it's a life of its own. Certain songs play you. I was born in a crossfire hurricane, and I howled at my mom in the driving rain. Yeah, 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 but I'm alright. Matter of fact, it's a gas. Yes, I'm alright. Now, Jack Flash, it's a gas, gas, gas. I was raised by a toothless, bearded hag. I was schooled with a strap right across my back. Yeah, 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 but I'm alright now. Matter of fact, it's a gas. Yes, I'm alright. I'm jumping Jack Flash. It's a gas, gas, gas. I was washed up, left for dead. I fell down to my feet and I saw they bled. Yeah, 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 and I frowned at the crumbs on the crust of bread. I was crowned with a spike right through my head. Yeah, but I'm alright. Matter of fact, it's a gas, but I'm alright. I'm jumping Jack Flash, it's a gas, gas, gas. Oh, hey, Rolling Stones. Happy Sunday, everybody. That's the Energy Patterns, Jumpin' Jack Flash. It's a badass song, I'm telling you. Rev was laughing like Rolling Stones, like that's a metaphysical song. We can all relate.